I'm John Hanna for CDTV.net in New York, and we have Aaron Strout joining us in Austin, Texas, and we also have Mike Snyder joining us from Boston, Massachusetts. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Our pleasure.
Our pleasure.
Okay, let's start off with Aaron. Aaron, tell us about your background.
Sure. So I've been doing digital marketing for about 17 years, social media marketing for the last 6. Over the last few years, I've noticed that mobile and location have become a bigger deal with both consumers and marketers, and so I started blogging and speaking about them. And before I know it, I was working in an agency as the head of location-based marketing and writing a book with Mike called Location-Based Marketing for Dummies.
And Mike, your background?
My background is in tech. I actually started off building giant data warehouses for Fortune 500 companies for Ernst & Young and Oracle. And I'm originally from the Midwest, but I migrated out to Boston and eventually, started building a bunch of systems, CRM, marketing automation systems, and eventually ended up in the advertising world. And came to meet Aaron when I came to Boston, and we, like he said, ended up writing Location-Based Marketing for Dummies together.
Now, you wrote the book together, but does that mean that you guys work together?
Well, we don't work together we work for different agencies. I run the digital group for a company called Allen & Gerritsen, which was recently named Ad Age's best place to work. We're pretty stoked about that, so we're telling everybody. But and Aaron works for an awesome agency down in Texas called WCG.
Okay, Aaron, let's start with you first. Tell us about location-based marketing. I've seen a lot of press releases about location-based marketing softwares out there. That one of them was actually when you've been registered with your mobile phone and you walk outside or within a certain area, within a block area of a store that's coordinated with that cell phone or whoever's doing the marketing for that store, will send out a text to you and tell you, okay, we got this great, awesome discount here if you come into the store now.
So, yeah, I mean, that's the trend is most of us have mobile phones, and more of us these days have what are called smartphones, which means that they're not only web-enabled, but they're also GPS-enabled. They have a global positioning satellite capability. And what some of these services that you talked about are doing, like Gowalla, Foursquare, Scavenger, Facebook is sort of not 100% sure which direction they're leaning these days. But the goal is to leverage where somebody is. So for the first time ever, instead of just knowing maybe where someone's going to be, you can sort of know, like you said, that they're in the proximity of. I'm at the airport right now, for instance, and it's about lunchtime, and so, Schlotzsky's, the deli wants to ping me and say, hey, Aaron, if you come by and you buy a sandwich, we'll give you a free bag of chips and some soda. All you have to do is check into our location, then I might be inclined to do that. So that's just one of many of the things that sort of can be done with these location-based services. But smart businesses are starting to take advantage of this because they realize that a lot of consumers, mainly early adopters now, but more and more the rest of the population are starting to get geo-curious and wanting to find out more about how they get these deals.
Now, Mike, what do you say to clients who might have customers and ask your clients, let's say, for example, and ask them that says, you know what, I don't want to be, I don't want to give up my privacy. I want to be able to walk down the street and not be thrown with all of these different kind of promos.
Well, that's interesting because there are a lot of people who are just that way. They're, even if they have smartphones, they don't want to they don't want to get a barrage of ads hitting them at all times and have a bunch of notifications popping up left and right and essentially killing their phone batteries. So what we tell our clients is to think about the people who do want this, and think about this as an opportunity to engage a tech early adopter who is, at this point in time, a tech early adopter who is very active on their phone, wants deals, will pass them along, will evangelize about your product and that sort of thing. But also to think about content, not necessarily just ads. Think about relevant content that people can use in the place that they are, not just not just giving them a deal, not just giving them, give them a reason to come in to your place, give them surprise and delight them in a different way than just throwing a discount in their face.
Okay, and also giving them an option to say, you just want to target what kind of companies you want to get discounts from, right?
Absolutely. That is one of the that's a very good option. Another thing to think about is listening in these spaces instead of talking, and going out and looking at the kinds of content that people are creating and the things that resonate with them. Particularly on Foursquare, you can see the kinds of tips that people are leaving, and there are ways to talk to those people. If Foursquare is a location-based social network, and people can do many things on it. You can tell people where you are, but you can also get specials. Vendors can put specials into place if they own the place, and but one thing, another thing people can do is the user community can put tips down. And if people are putting tips on your organization, have a conversation with those people and find out what it is they really like about it and encourage them to do it some more.
Okay. Aaron, now the question for you is that you're a perfect example with this interview right now because of the fact that you're a captured audience. You're in an airport sitting around for your flight. You have a lot of vendors there in front of you, and do you have the numbers that might potentially be to support the marketing numbers and say instead of not having a sale, you're going to generate more sale if you do this location-based marketing?
Well, that's a little. I mean, I guess the ultimate answer is yes. And one of the things that Mike and I talk about in the book is all about measurement dashboards. Key performance indicators or KPIs. And so I think any business could prove out what the value is, right, by increase in foot traffic, increase in share of wallet, increase of loyalty, engagement. It sort of depends on what metric you want to look at. I think the point you're getting at is a lot of the retail shops that might be at the airport, they live on razor-thin margins and they're sort of looking for an immediate gain. The good news for them is that they're already getting active foot traffic. It's one of those rare marketing opportunities where, if you can imagine email marketing 15 years ago, where people had created inboxes and were literally sitting around sort of waiting for marketers to send them, emails. A lot of people have done that with location already because they've gone in, say it's a McDonald's, right? And McDonald's in Chicago has not actually set up a venue for their store yet. Probably someone like Mike or myself has gone in and set it up and people are already checking in. So if you're a business, why not take advantage of that? But one of the things that Mike and I are very sort of prescriptive about in the book is making sure you know what it is that you are trying to do and then trying to match up some of the possibilities that you have. And that means services, because some of the services are better than others at driving those types of activities. And then also making sure that you're measuring the right things and incenting the right behavior. So making sure you've got the right offers out there, making sure that you've got the right signage, making sure that your staff is trained, and that you're also reaching out to your influencers, which are the people, again, like Mike and me, that may have adopted this early and are checking in regularly and cross-posting it to places like Twitter and Facebook.
Now, we've defined the actual service here. Now, how would a business go into if they wanted to do a location-based marketing system, as part of their marketing campaign, what do they need to look for in a company that will be providing this kind of services for them?
Yeah, so I mean, there are a few things. Like we've talked about some of them. I think, if they're travel-oriented, then Gowalla might be a fit for them. If they're more restaurant-oriented or small business and service, Yelp has one of the less robust location-based services, but there's certainly a well-known household name, and Yelp does a nice job at sort of intermingling reviews and services and things like that. Foursquare has been sort of the de facto niche player The problem with them is that you run into scale a little bit. Right now, there are about 11 million members and growing, and so you get some of the activity in a wider range with them cross-posting into Twitter with 200 million plus users and Facebook 750 million plus users. The companies that we've actually looked at a little bit recently is one called Local Response, and one of the things that they do nicely is they actually turn Twitter, the Twitter API, sort of into a location-based service. So they scrape for explicit check-ins that come through Foursquare, Gowalla, Scavenger, etc. And then they also look for implicit. So me just tweeting, at Mike, I'm at the airport, or maybe tweeting on Facebook, or heading out to Torchy's Tacos later today. That counts sort of as a check-in because you're implying, intent or you're there. And they can actually serve up an offer to you. So I think the key is back to what I was telling you was sort of these 5 golden rules, is you want to pick a service based on what your needs are, but part of that goes hand in hand with goals, right? So do you just want to get more promotion? Is it a time-bound, more ephemeral thing? So Scavenger, which we haven't talked too much about, great at this idea of scavenger hunts, right, that you might want to do for a few hours a day, a week, or whatever. Is it something that you want, like Foursquare has done a nice job in connecting their service with American Express and Starwood Rewards. So if it's more of a business-like approach, Foursquare has some experience in doing that. So really, we lay out in the book, all the different things that you should be considering. So who are the services? What are the offers? How do you measure it? How do you test it? How do you operationalize it? But those are sort of the basic steps, but the real key is just aligning goals to what some of the services provide. And again, Mike and I go into a lot of that in the book.
That's Aaron Strout joining us from Austin, Texas. And the one before was Mike Snyder joining us from Boston, Massachusetts. And I'm John Hanna for CityTV.net in New York. Thank you for joining us, guys.